Hey, my lovely stitchy friends, how are you all doing? This is Mieke. Today is Thursday, February 23 of the year 2023, and this is Flosstube number 38. That's a whole lot of threes in just one little sentence. This is my first Flosstube of the year, and I hope this video finds you well. I hope you're stitching away happily, and let's have a nice stitchy visit and stitchy update with each other. We are currently here in the Netherlands in the middle of our version of spring break, the voorjaarsvakantie, or as I learned when I was very small, the krokusvakantie. Krokussen are the type of flowers that are, among the first to pop up their beautiful heads as winter is slowly turning into spring. And I have a lovely 2 weeks off, which is wonderful. This week I am spending just here at home in the Netherlands, seeing friends, stitching my heart out, doing various things around the house and seeing people that I love. And next week I'm gonna go to Spain. I haven't been there since before the pandemic. The last time was in 2019, so I'm so excited. And I have a couple of things that I want to see again, and I'm bringing a couple of nice books with me. I think I'm just gonna bring one whip with me because I don't think there will be a whole lot of stitching going on, but the first rule of cross stitch, ABC, always bring cross stitch. So I will bring something with me. I haven't yet decided on what, but maybe you can help me throughout this video. So I'm good. The year has started well. I'm very much a spring and summer person, so I noticed the last few weeks that that very soft early spring scent is returning back to the air. In the pond downstairs, the ducks and the geese and other birds are already fighting for the little island in the middle. So, spring is slowly starting to appear, which always makes me happy and which always gives me new energies. So let's move to stitching. Last time we spoke, it was the day before my birthday, and I told you that on my birthday I was going to start not one but 2 new heights. And they were not my usual blue, turquoise, teal, green color scheme, but they were 2 beautiful seasonal queens by Bridget Ashwood. The first one being Spring Queen, Max Colors. The other one being the gorgeous Summer Queen. This beautiful lady. And I've done a page on both of them. Let's start with Spring first. Here's Spring. Not a hint of blue. It's just gold and black and shades of red and pink, but gorgeous. Oh, beautiful. The charting on heights is just, well, I know that I keep repeating myself, but it's true. And then Summer Queen, I also finished the first page on her. She is still in the Q-snaps. And here's where she is. Beautiful summer lilacs, if I'm not mistaken. And either on the second page or on the diagonal down, we are going to venture into the first bright electric blue bird. In Dutch, they are called kolibries. Hummingbirds in English, maybe? Anyway, they're bright and they're summery and they're blue. Beautiful pieces. And as weird as it may sound coming from me, they serve as really nice palette cleansers, let's say, in between all the blue and the green and the teal and the turquoise. Not that I could ever get enough of blues and greens, but for the variation, it is definitely nice. Those were my 2 birthday starts. And shortly after that, I had another new start, courtesy of Debbie, Creatively Yours. Debbie posted a picture on her Instagram with the start of a new stitch along hashtag dark fairy tale cell. And I saw that and I was like, oh, I want in, I want in. I love fairy tales, as you know. I stitch a lot of, fairy tale, fairy, fantasy related things. And here is where part one of the Once Upon a Fairy Tale / understatement story comes into play. When Debbie shared her story, the pattern that I immediately thought of was my supersized Once Upon a Fairy Tale by Amy Stewart. I have said many times in earlier videos that I am not a supersized kind of stitcher. Supersize heights are at the longest side 999 stitches wide or tall, and that's daunting, even for me, being a team Van Kleut, team Tapestry, being the big design lover that I am. But back in the day when, okay, I shouldn't be looking down at my tablet and talking at the same time. I cannot multitask. Nobody can really multitask, can they? Let me first tell what I was going to tell, and then I will look up the pattern. In 2019, so 4 years ago, there was this enormous buzz on the Hate Facebook group because Amy Stewart had released a new design. Now, Amy Stewart is one of the most beloved designers that Hate charts, but this one was specifically, buzzworthy because it was her Once Upon a Fairy Tale, and it had been teased and hinted at, and we had seen, little tiny pieces of what the design would look like, and the hype was building and building and building. And when the design was released, Michelle Sayeda, who owns and runs Hate, released it in 3 different versions. Regular version, regular colors, supersized, regular colors, and supersized max colors. Now, Amy's shelf designs, this is one of those, big shelf designs, like Amazing Animal Kingdom, like the Grand Library that is very popular now, like, well, so many others. In my opinion, they deserve at least a size expansion or a max color version. I know that they get charted for mini as well. I know that they get charted with regular colors. I know that they get charted in all kinds of different versions. In my personal opinion, that's just me, the big shelf designs by Amy, they deserve, either a supersized or a max color. But like I just said, when Michelle released the design in 3 versions, there was not a regular size max color version, which is what I would normally go for. I love the max colors. I can sometimes, whine and complain about max colors and confetti on my Instagram posts, but I love the effect that it gives. And so I was sitting there looking at those 3 versions thinking, oh, me wants it. I was totally swept up in the vibe and the hype of the moment. And like I believe within an hour after the 3 designs were released, people had already started a dedicated Facebook group to Once Upon a Fairy Tale. And I basically had FOMO, which is ridiculous, but it was a very clever marketing trick. And so I was looking at the designs and I was like, I want at least one. But I don't want the regular size version. I also don't want supersized and max colors. Okay, you know what? Add to cart. And I bought the supersized regular. And here is the chart. Well known and beloved by a lot of people. And I could just, look at this for a whole day. There's so many things happening. I mean, there is the dragon and the unicorn. There is the princess and the knights. There is so freaking many things happening. So I bought this in 2019, sorry. And I had never started it because, I got swept up in the hype and the vibe of that moment. But it was too daunting. I mean, I always stitch on 18 count Davosa, Swigards even weave, and 999 stitches on 18 count is at least the width of my sofa. And I have a piece in mind that will go above my sofa in, however many decades it takes me to finish. So I never started this, but whenever there was like something coming up with cells or challenges or fairy tales or fantasy themed stitch ideas, this called to me somehow. I had been looking at the different panels. There's 4 shelves with all these different panels, and I knew that I liked the top left third the best. I loved especially the part with the unicorn and the blue dragon and the nice, turrets here and those colors. So I had even been debating to cut that out, to make a quick stitch. We will get to that later. To make a quick stitch for myself. But in the end, it just never happened. So back to Debbie's dark fairy tale cell. Once Upon a Fairy Tale was the first design that popped into my head. And I looked at it and slept over it and looked at it again, and I just knew, Mika, you're not going to do this. You are not going to start that. It's not going to happen. But I really wanted in on the cell. I should have a good look in the mirror about FOMO, I think, now that I am telling you all of this. Anyway, that is besides the point. And I ventured through the patterns that I have, and I came across the beautiful Fairyland by one of my favorite hate designers, which is Nadia Strelkina. I have by now, I think, a collection of 50, maybe even more hate designs. And I know that many hate stitchers say, stitching and collecting are 2 different hobbies. And I completely agree with that. But if you have so many, you enter into the luxury problem of sometimes forgetting what you have, which doesn't sit really well with me. This is one of those. And I went through my pattern collection, and then I stumbled upon Fairyland, and I was like, this is perfect. She's a fairy. It's obviously nighttime because the moon shines up in the sky. And I tagged Debbie in a post on Instagram, and I said, Debbie, will this fit your cell? She gave me her blessing. And so I started in the autumn Fairyland by Nadia Strelkina. This is the color expansion version. That was already available on the Hate website. It has how many colors? 120? Let me check. 150. So, that will give me a good amount of detail and contrast. And since I started it, I have finished the first 2 pages already. As always, starting in the top left corner. So that means that for the first few pages, we are venturing into palm leaves and territories. Beautiful. For the rest of the autumn, I stitched on my 2 Genovia art pieces, Magic Roses and Magic Pond. Here is Magic Roses, max color version, This was a gift, a rock to me by my lovely friend Sabine. As always, started in the top left corner. So there is lots of reds and blues and greens. This is, oh, let me show you. This one is so saturated. I love it. I finished the second page since last you saw it. Look at that saturation. Oh my goodness. It's beautiful. Such a beautiful design. I can see myself stitching more Genovia art designs in the future. And when we are through all the whips, and I'm going to talk about the plans that I have for the stitching year 2023, even though it's almost March, but hey, it's my first video of the year. I am going to tell you that I might have a third Genovia piece, and I might request MX colors for that. We will have to see. So this is just a little teaser for further on in the video. That's Magic Roses. And my other Genovia piece is Magic Pond. And this is, like I said last time, a favorite on my Instagram. It is so gorgeous. That's the mock-up. This is my Disney pattern. It feels like a Disney movie. That dress could easily be worn by Princess Tiana in The Princess and the Frog. And yeah, beautiful. And I finished another page on that one as well. The second page. Those flowers. My goodness. I said a minute ago earlier in this video that sometimes I need to whine and complain a little bit about the confetti that comes with Max Colors. That is obviously mostly in jest. I mean, look at the results, but the confetti in these flowers is insane. I told you last time when I had not yet finished the second page that there were at least 50 or 60 colors of or shades of orange and yellow in the flower, and it's exactly the same with the pink one. So many little ninja stitches, where there's like 1 or 2 stitches of a color on a page, but the effect, I know already where I'm going to hang this in my house. Behind that wall is the little hallway towards my bedroom. I have a big rectangular poster hanging there now of a seaside scene, and whenever I finish Magic Pond, that one is going into that frame. Yeah, love it. Those were the whips that I worked on during the autumn, and during December it was obviously time to start thinking about my New Year, New Start, which is a tradition that really needs to happen every New Year. And this is where we come back to that scrambled story that I was telling you earlier about Once Upon a Fairy Tale by Amy Stewart. And I can thank the wonderful, amazing Jessie Marie Dustuff for this. Jessie at some point started a quick stitch. We've talked about this so much already over on Instagram and on Jessie's videos. Jessie started this glorious piece, which is a crop from the original design. This is Quick Stitch Once Upon a Fairy Tale 2. And I don't know how I missed this on the Hate website. I knew that there was a story keep of this part of the design, and I knew that there was already a mini charted, and there was a this charted and a that charted, but I had completely missed this one until Jessie showed it on her Instagram, and I was like, oh, that's the one. that was just, instant love at first sight. And we joke back and forth about this being called a quick stitch because it's anything but. It is 625 by 729. It is bigger than a couple of regular haids that I have on the go. How is this a quick stitch? So I have dubbed this not Once Upon a Fairy Tale, but Once Upon an Understatement. That is how it lives on my Instagram. That is how it lives on my head, in my head. But I love it. And this is, this is my favorite part of the design. It has that beautiful blue unicorn. It has that beautiful blue dragon. Yeah, it's great. And now, to continue talking about the size of this, Jessie has said a couple of times in her videos that she thinks this is a crop of the supersized. I think it may be even bigger than that. As I showed you a few minutes ago, I have the supersized. And this bit with the dragon and the unicorn is a lot smaller on that design. That encompasses about 1, maybe 2 pages. In this quick stitch, the head of the unicorn fills an entire page, and to give you even more perspective, this dragon wing spreads over 6 pages on 3 different rows. Let that sink in. 6 pages of blue wing on 3 different pattern rows. This is not cut from the supersized. I think that this is cut from the original design that Amy Stewart sent to Haight, and that is how it, is so enormous for a quick stitch. So the detail in this is going to be exquisite. So once again, Jessie, I think I've said it about 5 times now already here and on Insta. Thank you for starting this one. I am so glad that thanks to you I found this design, and that now I finally have found some rest and peace in my Once Upon a Fairy Tale undertakings. And so this was my New Year, New Start, and I have finished the first page, top left corner. And look at the teals. No, I can't. And this teal bit stretches on for also like 2-3 pages on 2 different rows. It's such a color party. Love it, love it, love it. So that was my New Year, New Start. And then after I finished the first page on that, and I had worked a little bit more on Fairyland that you've just seen, I thought it was high time to go back to my almost supersized, which is Super Sea Opal by Elizabeth Welker, also charted by Haight. This is the biggest whip that I have. She is 800 stitches square, and I had that custom size charted somewhere in 2021. Yeah, in 2021, because at some point I want to hang this above my blue sofa. There's plenty space, and then it will be, nicely, it will fit a big sofa like this. Patricia and I had a little laugh past Monday when I showed her that my Stitch Pal app currently predicts that I will finish this piece by the year 2048. By that time, I will be, Lord willing, 54. I mean, I need to get going. Luckily, I have, spent a good part of this past holiday week stitching on it. I am close to another page finish, and by now, thankfully, my Stitch Pal app has dropped the projected finish date from 2048 to 2044. So in 1 week, I have managed to gain 4 years. So by now, I'm going to be 50 by the time I finish this. At least it will give me ample opportunity to save for framing. Let's think about it in a positive way. First up, of course, I'm going to show you where Sea Opal was last time. I'm sorry guys, I am not going to take this monster out of the Q-snaps because it is a pain in the butt to put it in the Q-snaps. This is page 6, and as you can see, I'm almost finished with it. I have about 1500 stitches to go, and that arrow, that downward arrow that I also showed you last time, is the center of the top row. So I am now over halfway on the top row. This is a page that goes very quickly. I've said it before in previous videos, this is so relaxing. There's no confetti, there's no ninja stitches. It is max colors, but there is only, relatively speaking, 110 or 113 colors in this. And this page is just, 964, 3846, white, B5200, and towards the end of the page you see that we are moving into a new area with darker colors. But this is such a breeze. So I'm going to see if I can get this page finished before I go to Spain. It should be possible. And otherwise, this is the one that I might take with me to Spain. So that's Super Sea Opal. And that is all that I've stitched on since the last time we spoke. But it's not all that I have to tell you, because there is another new start coming up. I know. I have reached Sable stash acquisition beyond life expectancy, probably twice, 3 times over. But who cares? I'm a process stitcher. I enjoy the process. I enjoy starting things. I even though, darling, Mev Stitches in Paris can hardly believe it, I love bobbinating. I love sorting through my threads and just, having them lay out here on the sofa and just bobbinating while there's a bit of Netflix or Flosstube on. It's so zen, it's so relaxing. So I love everything about starting something new. And you know what? I'm not gonna apologize for it. Why should I apologize for it? This is my hobby. I work hard to earn my living. This is what I love. This relaxes me. So a new start is looming on the horizon. And that's going to be started as soon as I finish the page on Sea Opal. And that piece is going to be the brand new max color version that got released yesterday evening. Nadia Strelkina Lighted Mermaid max colors. Another Strelkina, another max color that I requested. You guys, I love her designs. This is gorgeous. And this piece, I think I was influenced by this book. If you follow me on Instagram, you know that last summer I got hooked on Sarah J. Maas's A Court of ... series. I know I'm super late to the party. I know many people have read it already and rave about it. But reading for me, as in, reading in a physical book, has become something that I can only do when I have a proper holiday, like now, or like the summer holidays. I have a couple of audiobook apps that I love to listen to, but my eyes they get tired after, the normal working days and the normal weeks. If I've been sitting behind a screen all workday long, and if I have after that hopefully been stitching for a couple of hours, my eyes are tired. And if I lay down in bed with a book, I will maybe get through half a page and then I fall asleep. So I listen to audiobooks, and that helps me fall asleep. That is, something nice. But nothing tops the feeling of, an actual book in my hands and just getting lost in the story. So last summer, when Patricia and I were in Italy, I got started on part number 1. This is part number 2. Part 1 is the red one, A Court of Thorns and Roses, that kicked off this whole series. And I managed to do a little start on part 2, A Court of Mist and Fury, before the summer holidays were over. And then during the few days that I had off in the Christmas period, I got a whole way into part 2. Now, obviously, this is a spoiler-free zone. I hate spoilers, whether it's for movies or series or books. So if you are, yet reading the series, or if you have plans to read it, first of all, highly recommend. If you love fantasy, this is obviously a fairy tale, a grown-up fairy tale. And in the second book, we travel, among other things, to the summer court. The summer court and its capital border on the sea, and the castle that they visit is, on the seashore, and it has this beautiful summer fantasy fairy tale vibe. A few things happen in and on and under the water. That is all that I will tell you. And I was reading this, like I just said, in December. And also in December, this piece was released on the Hate website. And it has nothing to do with Sarah J. Maas's book series. I mean, that this does not portray any of the protagonists or any of the stories. But in the background here, you can see this castle. There's obviously all that water. There is obviously magic involved. There are fairies here. And it feels to me like this castle here is a shadow of the castle that we see in my first Nadia Strelkina, which is Fairy 2. Let me draw that up for you very quickly. This one. And all these little elements, started whirling around in my head. I was like, it's almost like Lighted Mermaid is a sort of water sister to fairy. And then there was lots of, water happening in the book that I was reading. So things started moving in my mind. I was like, oh, I love this piece. But Mika, no. It was December by then. I had already planned my New Year, New Start. Leave it. Let it be. Let it rest. Let it, simmer. Maybe you will get back to it, and we'll see what happens. In January, my manager and I were looking back to 2022 and obviously looking ahead to 2023. And he said to me at some point, Mika, you've been doing this job now for a little over a year and a half. And we see that you have taken on a couple more responsibilities than what you were actually hired for. Just out of, being who you are and fitting nicely in the team and enjoying the job that you have. And I would like to reward you for that. So I'm giving you a little promotion. Okay, well, thanks. I did not see that coming, and in my opinion, it says way more about how wonderful of a manager he is, because I'm not the only one he's done that for. He has done that for a couple of other people as well. I have never had that happen to me, and that was such a festive, joyous moment. And it obviously comes with a little salary increase, just a little. It's nothing substantial, but it's not about the money for me. It's about the value and the meaning, and knowing that you are seen, and knowing that people appreciate how hard you work. And so I decided to treat myself and to order a max color version for Lighted Mermaid. It was released yesterday. I knew it was going to be released. You can track that in your Hate account, and I saw on Monday evening already that things were happening. So yesterday the whole day I was waiting for noon Pacific Standard Time, which is 9 p.m. here, which is when they usually release the special services on the Wednesdays. And yeah, I mean, so I got her as soon as she was released. And these colors, there's loads of 3760, 3765, 747. Yeah, so in my mind, she is like the water sister to Fairy 2. And I love that. So that one is going to get started as soon as I finish the page on Super C Opal. That's my next plan for the year. And other than that, my goal for the year is to work on all my active hates. I've taken them out of the cupboard in the other room. I've put them here on one of the chairs so I can, easily grab them and put them in a Q-snap and go. I want to at least dedicate one full page to all of the active hates that I have. Just, to keep them moving, just to keep seeing a little bit of progress on that. And to do so, I have finally decided to actively participate in the wonderful Facebook group Full Coverage Fanatics by NP, among other people. But I think Anne was the one who initiated it, if I'm not mistaken. It's a group that I've been a part of for quite a few years, but I was always a lurker. I was just, looking, and I was not actively participating. So now I am participating in the challenges. Quick Stitch, Once Upon an Understatement was, for instance, my January piece. I set a goal for 2,000 stitches. I managed those 2,000 in just 1 week. So for the next month, I have upped my goal to 5,000 stitches on a piece. There are also color challenges. There is a blue one. There is, I believe, a teal one. There is a pink one. So, there are various colors passing as the months pass. And I think that is a very nice way for me to go through these pieces and to set myself these little challenges. And another plan is, of course, Stitch Basel. I told you about the retreat in Switzerland last time. I have since officially applied and paid my fee, so I'm in. And last I heard, we are at our maximum of 50 stitchers, which is great. So there is a wait list, and please get on it if you would like to visit. You normally always see when these dates get closer that some people will either have to cancel or they choose to cancel. So if you would still like to go, I can definitely point you to the Stitch Basel Instagram or the Stitch Basel Facebook group and just get yourself put on that waiting list. So many lovely stitches are going. Mev Stitches in Paris and I are sharing a hotel. And I know that there are a couple of other people who are staying in the same hotel. I believe I've heard from at least Extra Design YouTube. She's staying in the same hotel. And it's going to be fun. It's going to be in September. So quite some time to go. But it will be September before you know it at the same time. So that is one thing that I'm really, really looking forward to. And then finally, not for now, but maybe for the summer or more appropriately even for the autumn, I might start another Genovia piece. I teased you about that a couple of minutes ago, and that piece has everything to do with book number 3 in the Akotar series, A Court of Wings and Ruin. I have finished A Court of Mist and Fury. I am now into the first 100 pages of this book, and I love it. There are 2 more books after this one, a smaller one and a really, 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 really huge one, even bigger than this. And from what I've gathered, books 1, 2, and 3 are the original trilogy, and then there are 2 more stories added to it. I don't know. I also don't want to know. Please don't tell me. I will just experience it as we go along. But in this book, in this third book, we visit Autumn Court. And my gut feeling tells me that things are going to happen in Autumn Court, to Autumn Court, and, concerning a few people who may or may not have ties to Autumn Court. I'm wording myself very carefully here. And that makes me think of a gorgeous piece by Genevieve Art that was released either last year or in 2021. I put it on my wish list as soon as it was released, but it's not a max color version yet, and it really deserves max colors in my opinion. So maybe towards the end of the summer, or maybe in the autumn, I would like to purchase, or to request I should say, a max color version for, scrolling down the Hate website as we speak, this beauty, Magic Autumn. She has a name in my head, which I will not spoil. Those of you who have read the books will no doubt know what it is. Shh, don't mention it. This design immediately sprung into my mind when I read book 3 and I saw that we were going to Autumn Court. And also I put it on my wish list because it would be a great companion piece for Summer Queen and Spring Queen. Those are by Bridget Ashwood. She has also done an Autumn Queen and a Winter Queen. Those do not really speak to me at this point in time. You never know how your tastes evolve and change over time. But right now, where I am right now, her Autumn Queen and her Winter Queen don't really speak to me. But this gorgeous lady, yeah. I think if it hasn't already happened towards the end of summer, I'm going to get this one, charted in max colors, and then start that. And meanwhile, I finished the first 160 pages of this. This is definitely going in my Spain suitcase, and I will just bring book 4 with me, just in case. When I am really drawn into a book, I can read pretty fast. So yeah, those are my plans. And I'm looking at my notes here. I think that is everything that I wanted to share with you. I don't have an enormous life update this time, other than the news that I already shared, that I got, a little promotion, and that feels great. And that it also feels great that we are venturing back into spring and longer days, more daylight. And that I'm going to Spain, which I've already shared as well. And other than that, I'm good. All good. So I think that's it. I hope you've been stitching away happily while watching this. I hope you're well. I hope you're taking good care of yourself as far as you can. And I wish you lots of happy stitching. And we will see each other again on Instagram and on here. Ciao, my friends.